Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. Welcome to my top 10 best movies of 1985. Yes, I've done a few years of bests over the past year or so. I did 1991. I think I did 1999 and I did 1982, which are also my favorite years of cinema. 1985 is another great year. There are two more I want to do for certain years. If you have other year best lists you want to recommend for me doing, I'll take that into consideration and do some research and see if enough films were worthy enough to make a top 10 best. But 1985 is definitely worthy. There's a lot of great films, Oscar films, fun blockbusters, and hardcore guilty pleasures for me. So this is my best of 1985. This is definitely not everybody's best. This is a personal, a subjective best, like a favorite. So please take that into consideration when you're watching my list. So this is, in my opinion, the best movies, the top 10 best movies of 1985. And as always, for a top 10 list, you gotta have your honorable mentions. And my honorable mentions are Teen Wolf, Police Story, Young Sherlock Holmes, Rocky IV, The Color Purple, Legend, and Jagged Edge. All great films. Just gonna make the top 10 list. But what did make my top 10 was my number 10. My number 10 is Commando. Commando is one of my favorite guilty pleasures of all time. This is top 5 best guilty pleasure films ever made. Right there with Flash Gordon and other silly Tango and Cash, all those movies. I'm a sucker for an 80s action film. Action films nowadays are good, but they don't make it like they used to in the 80s, and even in the 90s. I just love what they did with this movie. This movie is ridiculous from start to finish. The opening to the movie is Arnold Schwarzenegger carrying a tree. The lines in this movie are just incredible. Incredible in the best ways. They're stupid, but they're amazing.
A favor. Don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired. Let off some steam, Bennett.
This is just Arnold doing his Arnold shtick with his one-liners, silly action, silly premise, and I love it. I absolutely love it. There's so many films. Even in 1985, they're much better than Commando, but I watch Commando way more than a lot of those Oscar films or art house films. It's just sheer ridiculous, and I love every second of it. Commando. Anyways, number 9 is Clue. I think this is the only good movie based off a board game. Great cast. It's got Christopher Lloyd. It's got Tim Curry. It's got what's her name? Daphne something from the chick from Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles, whatever her name is. She's in it. She's great. Really good cast. It's super funny. It's a great whodunit murder mystery. It has a great ending with its multiple endings and stuff. Originally, that was supposed to be a bunch of alternate endings, but they tied them in together for one big ending. It's just a great murder mystery, great mystery thriller, whodunit. Just they're all these strangers. They come to this house and these people just slowly get murdered, and they have to figure out who the murderer is. And it's literally based off the board game. You got Professor Plum, Mr. Green, Miss Peacock, all of them, Miss White, all of them, and it's just how they tie in the board game into the movie. It's so clever. It's so funny. I love it. I recently showed this to Lindsay. She loved it too. It's a great film. Number 8 is Akira Kurosawa's Ran. Definitely one of his most underappreciated films. It's definitely not his best. This is no Seven Samurai. It's no Hidden Fortress or even Ikiru. It's not quite on that level, but it's still fucking great. And it's Shakespeare. A lot of his movies Yojimbo and Kagamushu and other film in this are all based off of Shakespeare plays, and this one is King Lear, very much King Lear, and it's done so well. This is probably the most beautifully shot Akira Kurosawa film ever made. It's beautifully shot. because he actually puts a lot of color, because a lot of his movies are black and white. And black and white's amazing. Black and white's beautiful. But he does color in this movie so well, especially with oranges and greens. It's beautiful. Isn't it right? Very beautiful. And it's just so amazing to watch. And the way he does the story about this king trying to raise these sons and stuff. And the power going to his head, and one of his corrupt sons trying to take over the kingdom. There's just so much going on in this movie. It's done very well. Action sequences are great. The production and costumes are spectacular. But it is one of the most beautiful looking Akira Kurosawa films, and every time I watch Ran, I love it. And I always get invested with this story and these characters, especially the lead character. Akira Kurosawa is just a brilliant filmmaker, and he could easily make these like really boring, like samurai films, but he makes very deep, philosophical, and just iconic films that just, they never get boring. They never get dated. They're just timeless. And Ran is the definition of a timeless Akira Kurosawa film. It's fantastic. Number 7 is Harrison Ford's Witness. Peter Weir. Peter Weir is a director who I love. I love Peter Weir. I love like Dead Poets Society, Fearless. Picnic at Hanging Rock's not great, but it's fine. The Year of Living Dangerously. Like he's got some great films. And Witness is damn near one of his best. Harrison Ford gives Oscar-worthy performance. I think it's the only movie he was ever nominated for. As this police officer trying to protect this Amish kid because he witnessed a murder, and he has to go live in the Amish country to protect him and his mother against these crooked cops and stuff. But it's about like a protection movie, but it's also about him learning about the Amish history and the Amish heritage, and living as an Amish person, because he ends up falling in love with the kid's mom, but he knows it's not meant to be because he's an outsider, and an Amish person can't fall in love with an outsider or they will be shunned from the village. Like it talks a lot about interesting things about the Amish country, and it's done very well. Harrison Ford is very good in this movie, and it has a very, very intense third act. So yeah, Witness is a damn good film. Number 6 is a childhood classic, and that's Goonies. Goonies never say die. I love Goonies. Hey, you guys, so good. Like I grew up with the Goonies. My dad always showed me and my sister VHS tape of Goonies. So good, so it's a classic. You got some Corey Feldman, Josh Brolin, Sean Astin, all great. You got these kids going on an adventure to find the treasure of One-Eyed Willie so they can save their house, but they run into some crooks who are also after the treasure. It's almost like Indiana Jones for kids. That's the best way to describe Goonies. It's like an Indiana Jones movie for children. So yeah, that's the best way. Everyone's seen Goonies. Everyone knows it's amazing. So yeah, Goonies. Number 5 is Fright Night. The original Fright Night. Even though I do think the remake is a bit better, and I think it does things a bit better than the original, but the original is fantastic. It is a great vampire film. It is a great horror film. It's also a very good dark comedy. Very underrated. I think Fright Night is just underrated in general. The original was so underrated and got this like cult following and made a shitty sequel and stuff. And then they made a remake to it, and the remake, no one saw that either. And that's also got like a cult following and everything. So yeah, Fright Night is a movie, and its remake are just movies people need to see and watch. Like if you're a fan of actual good vampire stories, you just need to check them out. They're a fucking blast. Number 4 is Silverado. I actually have the little poster of Silverado up there. I love Silverado. It's a great cowboy treasure hunting movie with a great cast. You got like Kevin Kline, you got Danny Glover, Kevin Costner, you got Lawrence Kasdan directing this movie. This movie is a fucking blast. If you're a huge fan of like swashbuckling action adventure movies, if you're into movies kind of like Treasures of Sierra Madre or mixed with like a Maverick and stuff, like you're gonna fucking love Silverado. It is my favorite movie directed by Lawrence Kasdan. I just think it's an absolute blast from start to finish, and it's super underrated and people need to watch it. Number three. Number three is Brazil. Terry Gilliam's Brazil. This is my favorite Terry Gilliam movie. Terry Gilliam can be a little off-putting sometimes, and even to a lot of people. Like maybe not to film aficionados, because everyone loves his Monty Python movies, Life of Brian, Holy Grail, Meaning of Life. Everyone loves those movies. But when you get into his like trippy acid trip films, like your 12 Monkeys, your Imaginarium of Dr. Pronounces, or Brazil and shit like that, like people find him a little weird, and sometimes I do. Like there's some movies I can't stand of Terry Gilliam's, like the Zero Theorem. I could not stand that movie, and there's other films he's got. I just don't like them. But Brazil is one of his best. Maybe his best. It's a close running with Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Like, this is a damn great film. It's fucking trippy as balls, man. It is. It's all out about like bureaucracy. I'm trying to speak. It's about bureaucracy. It's about government. It's about the environment. It's about reality and dreams and stuff. They tackle a lot of interesting themes and ideas in this film. It's got a good cast. You got like a Bob Hoskins, Jonathan Pryce, and Robert De Niro in the movie. All very good. It's a challenging watch, but by the end of it, it's very deep and very thought provoking. And I think it's done incredibly masterful by Terry Gilliam. I think it is one of his best of all time. I know some people don't like him, call him a bit of a hack, but when he does movies like Brazil, he's a true talent, and he's one of the best of his kind. So, yeah, Brazil is a damn great film. It's one of my favorites of 85. Number two, though, is Breakfast Club. I've talked so much about the Breakfast Club. I even did a whole video of a theory on the Breakfast Club. I love the Breakfast Club. It is a terrific coming-of-age story about these teenagers who spend detention together for a whole day. And it's just them talking and bonding. They're all from different cliques. One's like a jock, one's a nerd, one's like a criminal, one of them's like a princess, a spoiled princess girl, and one of them is like a basket case. Like, she's really weird and stuff. They're all very different people, but they all can relate in a lot of ways to each other. And it's a great movie. It's still timely to this day. A lot of teenagers can relate to the Breakfast Club, and they talk about a lot of heavy things, and it's such a very well written film. And I can tell if they ever remade the movie, they'd make it very modern in a very on the nose sort of way. And so that's why I don't think they should ever remake Breakfast Club. I think Breakfast Club still holds up as a film that people and teenagers can relate to. Because they talk about bullying, they talk about suicide, they talk about their parents and how they're dealing with a lot. They talk about their grades, they talk about the pressures of their future. They talk about a lot of things that a lot of teenagers struggle with. So yeah, Breakfast Club I think is an incredible film, and it's my favorite John Hughes movie with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and it's one of my favorite films of all time. It's so good. But number one, you all know what it is. Back to the Future. There's nothing else. Like, anytime anybody thinks of 1985, they think of Back to the Future. And if you don't, then you should, because it's the best movie of 1985. Back to the Future, what can I say that a million people haven't said about it already? It is one of the greatest films of all time. It's one of the funnest, most enjoyable, most entertaining, most timeless film ever made. It has great sequels, but the first film is just so iconic, and it's inspired so many movie and TV and even book franchises throughout the entire world. It will always live on in our film history as one of the best adventure sci-fi comedies. It's Back to the Future, man. Like, it's one of the best. So yeah, that's it. That's my top 10 best movies of 1985, in my opinion. So in the comment section, please tell me, what are your guys' top 10 favorite movies of 1985? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and join the dark side.